In this training session, we will review the toolbar section of the WaveRunner GUI. Located just below the menu bar, at the top of the GUI, the toolbar is where you can locate the various tools used in the creation and manipulation of a job file. There are tool sets that can be turned on or off based on the user's preferences. Locate the Settings drop-down in the menu bar, then select System, and a System Settings screen will appear. The first tab is named View, and in the center of the View tab is a button labeled Toolbars. Left-click on Toolbars, and an additional screen for the selection of the various toolbars will appear. In this tutorial, we will cover the 4 most actively used toolbars. These are File, Camera, Geometry Object, and Functionality Object. Select each of these by left-clicking once on each of the corresponding radio select buttons as shown. Now select the OK button and observe that, in fact, these tool sets are located just below the menu bar. The File toolset is for the quick load and save of a job file. It also allows quick access to the context-based Help tool within the WaveRunner software. Next is the Camera toolset. Here we can print and print preview, as well as turn on or off the entity list and entity property sheet. The 2 most commonly used tools here are the Fit Working Area and Fit Selected. These tools are very useful when quickly switching between the active entity and the entire workspace. Also, as is sometimes the case, an imported entity may appear outside the expected marking area. The Fit Working Area will zoom out to show all entities within the job, including those outside the active marking area. In order for the Fit Selected tool to activate, at least one entity must be selected. The Geometry toolset allows the user to generate points, lines, rectangles, triangles, circles, arcs, and polylines. Each is created in a similar fashion by selecting the Geometric tool to use with a left click and then moving the mouse within the marking area of the View 2D space and left clicking once again to start the process. For the point, the single click is all that is required to generate it. The line uses the first click as the start location of the line and a secondary left click to position the end of the line. The Rectangle tool is slightly different in that the operation is left click and hold at the point of the first corner, then drag and release to generate the opposite corner. The Triangle, like the point, is a click operation. Left-click the mouse for the first vertex of the triangle. Left-click again to generate the second vertex, and once again to create a third vertex. The Ellipse tool, like the Rectangle tool, is a left-click, hold, and release operation as shown. The Circle, 3 points tool, like the Triangle tool, is a left-click the mouse at 3 separate positions to form the circle. Circle. Center radius is a 2-click operation. The first is the center of the circle, the second is the radius of the circle. The Arc tools behave just as the Circle tools do. Polylines. Polylines are a very useful tool. The Polyline tool allows an open or closed polyline to be created with successive left mouse clicks at the requested positions. The sequence is completed with a right mouse click and selection of Finish or Close and Finish. Finish would be used for an open-ended polyline. Close and Finish automatically connects the last generated point of the polyline to the first generated point. This entity can have a hatch operation applied to it. It is very useful for tracing simple logos and converting them into a vector graphic within the WaveRunner software. Next, we have the Functionality Object tools. Starting from left to right, we have the timer, which creates a default timer object that can be adjusted from the Control tab of the Entity Property sheet. This tool allows the user to create a pause or delay in the operation of the job file at a set point within the process flow. The Wait for Input tool is next. This stops the marking process until the specified input bit or combination of bits on the I/O port is high or low, depending upon the settings selected in the Control tab. A message can also be displayed to the operator at this stage. The marking process continues once the marking box has been replied to. Useful for telling an operator to perform a manual operation such as relocating a part. The Set Output tool is very similar to the Wait for Input, with the exception that here an output bit on the I/O port is set high or low as part of the job flow. For example, a bit could be set to activate a process gas or vacuum extraction unit. Next, we have the Set Date Time tool. This places a date time stamp within the job file, which is updated from the system CPU. It can be left as human-readable text or modifies to output as a barcode as well. The next three icons are serial number, barcode, and static text. The serial number tool should be thought of as a variable tool text. This tool allows the user to create an auto-sequencing serial number or variable text field linked to a CSV, text, or Excel file. The static text tool is just that, used when a fixed set of information is to be used. For example, variable text is used to update a part number or serial number, and static text when the manufacturer's name is to be placed on every part. These three tools will be covered in their own lesson due to the scope of these tools. Motion control is only available if motion control is activated. It allows the user to program in absolute or relative moves within the job flow. For example, to move the focusing axis a fixed distance when a part to be marked has two distinct marking planes, or to execute a homing event. Motion control are covered in a separate group of lessons. Thank you. This concludes this lesson, and remember to use the context-based help tool.